Hello, Michelle here with My Designs in the Chaos, where it's my goal to develop, encourage, and grow your crafting talent and confidence. And right now, I'm in the middle of a series called the Daily Dose of Design, where every single day I am going live with you, giving you tips, tricks, and answering your questions in regards to SVG files and designing SVG files. And right now, we are on episode number 13. I cannot believe we are already almost halfway through our 30 days of the Daily Dose of Design. And today, I want to answer the question for you that is, what guidelines should I use when I'm designing? Now, if you would like to get these daily episodes in your inbox, make sure to sign up at the link right up above or below, depending on which platform you are watching on. And then, as always, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a little bit of love if you're enjoying this series. If you're here, say hello in the comments. Let me know if you're watching on the replay. Hi, Diane. Some guidance. She has no background in design. She feels like she's not very crafty. And she said, Michelle, I just need a few guidelines when I'm going to design my own files. Like, where do I even begin? Where do I start? And so today I want to address that question of what are some rules or some guidelines that we can start with when we are designing SVG files. Now, previously in the series, I've already talked about some of my favorite software to use, the type of fonts that you can download, which ones you should be designing with, which one is the SVG. We've gone into all kinds of awesome details there. But today I want to give some basic design principles. So I'm going to talk about 3 different basic design principles that helps you give you a little bit of a framework for when you're starting to design your own SVG files. Step number 1, and I'm talking for today in regards to designs that have fonts in them. I absolutely love funny sayings, designs that have fonts. If you're looking for one, we might have a freebie for you over on our website. I'm going to put my website link right up here on the screen so that you can go head over there and check out what my personal style is. I design a lot with lettering and words and things like that. And so go head over to mydesignsinthechaos.com to check out. We've got hundreds of freebies over there on the blog for you. But step number 1 in some guidelines to designing is you want to use no more than 3 fonts. Now, keep in mind there are exceptions to every single rule, right? That's life. We always have exceptions to things. But typically, when you're designing, when you get past 3 fonts, it starts to get kind of busy, kind of blurry. Your eye doesn't know where to look unless you're going for a particular subway style of design where you've got way more than 3 fonts. But typically, when you're designing SVG files, a great place to start is 3 fonts or less in your image. Okay. And then you can kind of pair them up with like script and print. And we'll go into those details on a different day, but try to keep it at about 3 fonts or less. That's tip number 1 for some guidelines when you're learning to design. Tip number 2 I have for some guidelines when you're first learning how to design your own SVG files is when you're looking at your image, you want to keep in mind balance. Now, when I say balance, I don't mean symmetrical. I just mean balance. If you have something on this side of your design, you're probably going to want to have something on this side of your design. If you have something on the top, you want to have even it out with something on the bottom. You don't want it to be offset where you've got some gaps or some gaping holes. Think about the space that you're going to be filling with that file and have balance in your design. So that's tip number 2 that I have for you as far as some parameters around how to start designing your files. Tip number 3 I have for you when you're looking for where to begin with designing and what are some basic guidelines or even, I hate to say rules because I feel like it's so fluid. It's not really a rule, but these are just guidelines that you can go by. Tip number 3 I have is when you are designing, work in odd numbers. What I mean is if you're going to put some hearts on your design, work in odd numbers with the hearts. Now, if you decide to do pairs, then put odd number of pairs. Put either 1 pair, put 3 pairs, put 5 pairs. So you're working in odd numbers. Or if you were going to do like little stars, maybe you're just going to have 1 star or 3 stars. Again, this really coincides with tip number 2, which is balance. When you have odd numbers in your design, it helps your eye flow through the design a lot easier rather than competing with each other. When we have even numbers, it's like, oh, there's this on this side and this on this side. Oh, there's this at the top and this at the bottom. It kind of helps you to be like, where, like, it can confuse your eye. Where do I look? Because everything is symmetrical. And so when you work in odd numbers, it helps you flow. And especially when you have balance. If you have something large over here, you have something large over here, you're working in odd numbers and it all really flows together. So, those are some basic guidelines that I have for you when you're first learning how to design your own files. Number 1, no more than 3 fonts. Number 2, remember, you want to keep your design balanced. And then tip number 3 is work in odd numbers. Again, though, remember there's exceptions to every rule. And art is so personal, right? So you have to go at the end of the day with what you feel like looks good. But that should help give you a good guideline. So thanks for hanging out with me today on episode number 13. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would appreciate it if you give it a little bit of love. Let me know in the comments which one of those tips you enjoy the most, or maybe which one you struggle with the most. And if you have a question, make sure to send it over via email, info@mydesignsandthechaos.com. I'm going to put that email address right up here at the screen so that potentially your question could be featured as one of our daily dose of design episodes. And if you would love to get these in your inbox, make sure to click the link above. Y'all have a fabulous day, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye, y'all.